They're online right now, reading your message, seeing the notification, choosing not to respond. And you know what's sick? The longer they take to reply, the more you want them. The less they care, the more you obsess. The colder they are, the hotter you burn. You tell yourself you hate games, but you're lying. You're addicted to them, because Carl Jung discovered something about human desire that would destroy everything you think you know about attraction. You don't want love. You want your original wound. Every single person you've ever craved, chased, or couldn't forget, they weren't random. They were selected by the darkest part of your psyche, the part Jung called the shadow, the part that feeds on rejection like oxygen. Here's what's really happening. When you were born, you were perfect, whole, complete. Then life started carving pieces out of you. Every time you cried and no one came. Every time you reached out and found empty air. Every time you needed safety and found chaos instead. Those moments didn't just hurt you, they programmed you. They taught your nervous system that love equals pain, that wanting equals not having, that desire equals distance. So now, 20, 30, 40 years later, when someone is available, present, willing to love you, your unconscious screams danger. This isn't familiar. This isn't home. This isn't the frequency of love you learned before you could even speak. But when someone pulls away, when they're hot and cold, when they make you work for crumbs of attention, your whole body lights up. Finally, the familiar symphony, the chemical signature of home. Let me destroy your world for a second. That person you can't stop thinking about, the one who barely texts back, who cancels plans, who keeps you guessing. You don't love them. You love the neurochemical cocktail they trigger. The same cocktail your brain created when you were 3 years old, waiting for mommy to finally notice you. When you were 7, trying to make daddy proud. When you were 13, desperate to belong somewhere, anywhere. Your brain is literally addicted to the chemistry of longing. Dopamine floods your system when they finally text back. Cortisol spikes when they go silent. Adrenaline surges when you see them with someone else. You're not in love. You're in withdrawal. And they're your dealer. Here's the part that will haunt you. They know. Maybe not consciously, but their shadow recognizes yours. They can smell your wound like blood in water, because they have the opposite wound. Where you fear abandonment, they fear engulfment. Where you chase, they run. Where you need closeness, they need distance. You're not in a relationship. You're in a psychological dance that started before either of you were born. Think about Lisa, brilliant woman, PhD, successful career. But she only wanted men who treated her like an option. The married ones, the emotionally unavailable ones. The ones who would never, could never, fully choose her. She said she was just unlucky. She wasn't unlucky. She was precise. Her unconscious was a heat-seeking missile for emotional unavailability, because her father was there, but not there, physically present, but emotionally absent, reading his newspaper while she performed for his attention. So now she performs for every man who won't watch. She dances for every man who won't see. She bleeds for every man who won't care. Because that's what love felt like at age 5. And age 5 is still running the show. You think you're choosing partners with your adult mind. You're not. You're choosing with the emotional brain of whatever age you were when you learned what love costs. And for most of us, love costs everything and delivers nothing. That's why available people bore you. That's why kindness feels suffocating. That's why stability feels like death. Your trauma needs chaos to feel alive. Right now, someone healthy is interested in you. Someone who would text back, who would show up, who would choose you without games, without drama, without making you earn basic human decency. And you feel nothing for them. Absolutely nothing. You might even feel repulsed, anxious, like you want to run. You tell your friends they're too nice, or too available, or there's just no spark. But Jung knew the truth. That spark you're missing, that's your trauma alarm going off. And when it doesn't ring, you think something's wrong. Because your nervous system has been hijacked since childhood to believe that calm equals danger and chaos equals home. Let me tell you what's happening in your body right now. When that unavailable person finally texts you back after 3 days, your dopamine receptors explode. Same receptors that respond to cocaine, to gambling wins, to every addiction known to humanity. Your brain memorizes this pattern. Pain first, then relief. Distance first, then crumb of connection. You become a rat in a laboratory, pressing the lever that sometimes, randomly, unpredictably delivers food. And studies show those rats will press that lever until they die. They'll ignore the lever that gives food every time. They want the one that makes them suffer first. You are the rat, and you built your own cage. But here's where it gets truly dark. The person you're obsessed with, they're suffering too. They're not powerful. They're not in control. They're running from their own shadow. See, there are 2 types of wounds: the abandonment wound and the engulfment wound. If you have abandonment wounds, you attract people with engulfment wounds. You chase, they run. You need closeness, they need space. You fear being left, they fear being consumed. It's perfect, perfectly destructive. Jessica learned this the hard way. She spent 3 years chasing Michael. He'd get close, then disappear, promise everything, deliver nothing. She thought if she just loved him harder, proved herself more, became prettier, funnier, better, he'd finally choose her. But Michael couldn't choose her, not because she wasn't enough, but because choosing her meant confronting his mother, the mother who consumed him, who had no boundaries, who made him responsible for her emotions since he was 4 years old. So now, every woman who wants him feels like his mother trying to devour him again. Jessica's abandonment was dancing with Michael's engulfment. Both of them thought it was love. It was just 2 traumas having a conversation that started in their childhoods. And the sex. Let's talk about what nobody will tell you about trauma bonding and sex. The most intense sexual experiences you've ever had. They weren't about sex. They were about psychology. When someone who triggers your abandonment wound finally touches you, your body releases oxytocin levels that are off the charts. Not because the sex is better, but because your inner child finally got picked, finally got chosen, finally got seen. For 30 seconds, you're not abandoned anymore. You're held. You exist. You matter. But it's a lie. Because after the oxytocin comes the crash. They pull away again, go cold again. And now you're more addicted than before. You'll do anything for that next hit. Compromise everything. Abandon yourself. Lose your dignity. You're not having sex. You're medicating childhood pain with another person's body. This is why you can't leave. Why you keep going back. Why you make excuses for people who treat you like garbage. You're trauma bonded to their trauma. And trauma bonds are harder to break than heroin addiction. Because at least with heroin, you know you're addicted. With trauma bonds, you think it's love. You think it's fate. It's not fate. It's repetition. There's something I haven't told you yet. Something Jung discovered that's so disturbing, most therapists won't even discuss it. You're not just attracting your wounds. You're actively creating them in healthy people. Let me explain what's about to shatter your reality. When someone healthy enters your life, someone without matching trauma, your unconscious goes to work. It starts pushing buttons, testing boundaries, creating chaos. Until one of 2 things happens. Either they leave, proving your abandonment story true, or they stay and get infected by your wound, becoming the very thing you feared. You're not finding broken people, you're breaking them. David was the proof. Good man, secure attachment, no games. He met Rachel, who had severe abandonment wounds. At first he was patient, consistent, available. Everything she said she wanted, but her unconscious couldn't tolerate it. So she started testing, accusing him of cheating with no evidence, pushing him away, then panicking when he gave her space, creating fights before important moments, sabotaging every piece. 18 months later, David was different, anxious, walking on eggshells. He started pulling away to protect himself, and Rachel finally got what her unconscious wanted, another man who couldn't fully be there. Her prophecy fulfilled itself. She didn't find an unavailable man, she created one. This is what Jung called shadow projection. You don't just attract your shadow, you project it onto others until they become it. You're not a victim of your patterns, you're the creator. But here's the exit door nobody shows you. The moment you see it, really see it, the spell breaks. Not immediately, not easily, but it breaks. Because consciousness is the only thing more powerful than the unconscious. Start with this. Next time you feel that intense pull toward someone, stop. Ask yourself, what age do I feel right now? Because I guarantee you're not feeling 35 or 28 or 42. You're feeling 5 or 7 or 13. The age when the wound was created. That person isn't your soulmate. They're your time machine, taking you back to the age when you learned that love hurts. Now here's the revolutionary part. You can choose differently, but not the way you think. You can't just decide to like available people. Your nervous system won't let you. Yet. But you can start small. You can practice sitting with the discomfort of healthy love. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like building a muscle. When someone texts you back quickly, notice the anxiety. Don't run from it. Breathe through it. When someone is consistent, notice the boredom. Don't create drama. Sit with it. When someone treats you well, notice the urge to sabotage. Don't act on it. Feel it. You're literally rewiring your nervous system, teaching it that safety isn't danger, that peace isn't death, that love doesn't require suffering. And slowly, the unavailable people will stop looking like salvation. They'll start looking like what they really are, other wounded children playing out their own trauma. Here's what Jung wanted you to know. You're not broken. You're not cursed. You're not destined to repeat this forever. You're just unconscious. And unconsciousness isn't a life sentence. It's a choice. Every time you choose the familiar pain over the unfamiliar peace, you're choosing to stay asleep. But every time you choose differently, even in the smallest way, you're choosing to wake up. The person who ghosts you isn't your person. The one who plays games isn't your person. The one who makes you chase them isn't your person. Your person is probably the one you haven't noticed yet, because they're not triggering your trauma. They're offering you something your nervous system doesn't recognize. Peace. And peace, real peace, is more intimate than any chaos could ever be. The question is, are you brave enough to want what's good for you? Or will you keep choosing what's familiar? Your shadow already knows the answer, but you can still change it.